We are back with senior housing coach Allan. Let's talk
Hey,
about maintenance and housekeeping. This is the entire segment or subsegments of operations. Um, can we just talk a little bit about it? I know one of the key things is consistency, right? Is the consistency of
mhm.
getting these things done. But can you just tell us what your thoughts are and what the key
Yep.
points might be?
I love maintenance and I love housekeeping. That was my first job at 16 in a skilled nursing facility. I was a maintenance assistant, and the best employees of just about any property are the housekeepers. They're in the residents' room. They're smiling. They're helping them. They're cleaning up. I love these ladies. They work hard, and anybody doesn't think that they work hard, they ought to work with a housekeeper for a day. So they are just fantastic women and a couple of men, but generally housekeepers are your stars. They're the superstars. They're consistent. They know what they're doing. They've got the residents' best interest at heart. I can't say more. I can't say enough about them. I really love those guys. Um, the housekeeper, the key for an owner is to help the housekeeper reduce the number of steps that they have to take. So
Mhm.
if you see a housekeeper walking back and forth to get stuff, we try to say, listen, when you're in the room, you spend 5 to 10 minutes in the bathroom, then you go to the bedroom, you work on the bed, then you go to the living room and you work your way out. And so there's a nice progression for every housekeeper. But if they're zigzagging back in the room, they're wasting time and they're spending energy. And anybody only has so much energy in a day.
Mhm.
So normally a housekeeper in senior housing is assigned a room that they need to finish within 30 minutes. So they also have laundry to do for that room. So they're throwing laundry in while they're going back and forth between the rooms. Um, we try to assign about 6 rooms a day, 6 to 8 rooms a day, because a third of their time should be to common area maintenance. The offices, the dining room, the hallways, shampooing, you name it. There's a lot of work to do in housekeeping. So the foolish owner is one that's going to give them um, 15 rooms, 16 rooms to do in a day. And they're just going to try to do it and break their back and they wind up quitting. Normally 8 to 10. So if you've got a property of 60 rooms, one housekeeper can do 60 rooms in a week because that's 30 man hours and then 10 hours to do common area. So they would do 6 hours of housekeeping in rooms a day and 2 hours in the common. So on the housekeepers, believe me, I'm their advocate. I love my housekeepers. Do not abuse your housekeepers.
Yeah.
Help them with products, help them with training, make sure they wear their gloves. They don't want to get hepatitis or an infection by sticking their hand in a trash can and getting a needle stuck in them. We don't pay them hardly anything, and
Right.
yet they're willing to do everything.
Yeah, I
So,
think a trick. Listen, if you're an existing owner or operator, and this comes from another business that we're in, where processes, these sort of physical processes, are really important.
mhm,
And I had a friend of mine who was an engineer. He's an older gentleman who had been around manufacturing, and he had told me about what he would do as a process map. That when he would go into a facility, the first thing that he would do when watching manufacturing processes is he would create. I forgot the term for it, but it's some type of diagram. And essentially,
mhm,
what he would do, he would take a piece of paper, mark out all the spots that someone is, and then he would just take a pencil and then draw all the lines of where they go to finish something. And
yep,
so he said so often that would happen that they would go in and the major issue was something as simple as placement of tools and
yep,
parts to build something. And
yep,
so then when I thought about it, we implemented in our business, and the amount of time that we saved was amazing, because what I think what happens is when you do something repetitively, you
mhm,
get good at it. You don't think about it, and so you don't think about the inefficiencies of where you're losing. I think you pointed out something really
yep.
important, is that in order for them to maximize their ability to, one, to care for the people that are there, but two, actually accomplish your job of cleaning, they need to be able to have that efficiency, right? And so,
Yeah, and a lot of owners will not buy supplies for the housekeepers. It's like,
wow.
well, we're running low of toilet paper. Well, go check the other closets. Well, it's a half an hour time that they're
Right.
bouncing around trying to find a $2 toilet paper or a
Right.
light bulb.
Right.
So one of the things that we always emphasize is let's find what we should have in every closet for every housekeeper on her cart and in the storeroom, and let's make sure that she's got supplies so that if the light bulb's out in the room, she goes to her cart, changes it out, and she's done in less than a minute. She
Yeah.
shouldn't have to spend 15 minutes to find a light bulb.
Yeah.
So on housekeeping, they know their routine. They know how long, who's a hoarder and who's really very clean as far as residents.
Yeah.
The maintenance people are on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Okay.
They will walk 6 hours a day and not do anything, but they'll be walking around with nothing going on.
Yeah.
So for maintenance, this is the ED's responsibility. Monday morning, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whenever that guy shows up or woman, what do we want to accomplish for the week? And then
Yeah.
discuss how long it's going to take to replace a toilet, how
Right.
long it's going to take to repaint the room. And okay, today we're going to do this. And all of the women that are in the communities will stop the maintenance person and say, hey, could you fix my shelf? My toilet's doing jiggling, need to fix the toilet. We need to have a system in place where one day a week, the maintenance comes and does all the honeydew stuff. The shelves that are wobbly, the wheel that's off the bottom of the refrigerator, stuff like that. Otherwise, they're just walking around all day and not doing anything. So
Yeah.
the ED's got to literally schedule the maintenance person on a week, determine how
Yeah.
many man hours it takes to do each job, and
Right.
then daily at the end of every day say, what did you do today? So the housekeepers need very little supervision. The maintenance people need a ton of supervision. The housekeepers can multitask. The maintenance person is single focused. So don't be deceived just because the guy's 50 years old and done maintenance for 30 years that he knows what he's doing. The ED's got to be right there with him saying, what are we doing today? Great. What did we finish today?
Yeah, I think this is where having written processes and systems are really important, right?
Yep.
And it's something as simple as checklists. I mean, Alan, you've toured so many facilities. I'm just touring facilities, and there's a night and day difference between the maintenance people and where the maintenance is being cared for versus
Yep.
where it's not, because the level of organization is just apparent, right? Like you
Absolutely.
go
If
you
you,
go to a place where there's stacks and stacks of parts in the corner, and like you can't find a hose. You ask the guy for a
uh-huh.
screwdriver, and he goes to Home Depot to buy a new one, right?
Yeah. When you're on a tour looking for a new property, look in the housekeeping closets.
Yeah.
Is it organized and well stocked? Look
Yeah.
in the shop where the maintenance guy is and say, where's the paint stored? Where's his tools stored? Where are the lights stored? And if it looks like World War II disaster, everything's blown up, you got a problem right there that
Yeah.
you're going to have to address. And getting a maintenance person back on track is very, very difficult. It's much easier starting with a new person and saying, this is how we need to be organized.
This is a tidbit that I learned the hard way from the car wash business, where there's nothing but tools. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Super ninja trick, and this doesn't, you don't have to be in senior housing. Anything where you've got tools and you've got maintenance, you get one of those big cork boards or hook boards, right?
Right.
And then you make sure that the vast majority of your tools, besides like screwdrivers and the hand tools, that they have a little hole on them. And
Mm-hmm.
then you organize it so they're all hanging across the board.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then you take a marker and you outline
Yep.
that tool so that every time it goes back there, and if it's missing, you put
Yep.
that responsibility on the person who handles those tools, right?
Yep. If
Pay
it's
you pay for
broken,
it once. Exactly.
show me a broken tool, and I'll
Exactly.
pay for a new one. We've
Exactly.
gone even a step further that we spray paint the handle or just a little part orange or red.
Mm-hmm.
So if your tools, you're not going to spray paint something orange,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I'll
Right.
have like a little half-inch spray paint of orange or red and say, these are my tools.
Yeah.
If you're bringing your tools in, they don't have this marking on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you buy a tool, we put the mark on it and it's our tool.
Yeah.
So that
And
way we
and
don't
and
mix up stuff.
well, that's exactly it. It's we're not just concerned about someone theft. It's like genuinely when people work with tools, they like using their own things. And
Oh,
what
I
you
do
don't want to
too. Yeah,
happen is those things get mixed up and then they walk away, right? And there's
exactly.
nothing more annoying than having to buy tools again, especially when they only come in sets. And
Yep.
then
Yep.
it's a pain in the butt. So
Yep.
in terms of weekly schedules, you sort of talked about with the housekeeping that about 10 hours. So 6 and 2 in terms of common area versus the room cleaning.
Yeah.
And any basic maintenance sort of tips
Yes.
on a weekly basis that you think that have to be done, especially for that ED right now who's like, oh my God, Alan just told me I have to be responsible for that person.
All right. If you have 60 people in any area, plus another 12 to 20 employees in any area, walls are going to get banged up. The
Yeah.
maintenance person needs to be painting about a third of their time, whether
Wow.
they're turning a room or painting the hallways or fixing a chair rail. They need to literally be doing the painting and drywalling a third of their time. So
Wow.
if I see a painter walking or a guy walking around and saying, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I got nothing to do." That blows my mind. It's like, let me walk you down this hallway here, buddy. Because the seniors, they'll walk their walker or their Moby goes slams into the wall, slams into
Yeah.
the door. And so you can put Minwax on doors, you can put plastic on the bottom of the doors. There's always something that needs to be fixed up.
Yeah.
So if they're not turning a room and painting a room, they need to be painting common areas and making sure that it looks well. Your landscaping outside is usually contracted, so there's not much for them to do on the outside. It's all internal and painting, 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 painting. So somebody says, let me hire a maintenance person, find a painter. You can teach them just about everything else, but find somebody that wants to paint, and that's a $15 to $18 an hour guy or gal.
And then in terms of, you know, annual things that a maintenance person should be paying attention to,
Yeah,
you know, what are the major things? I mean, like air filters, those sort of things go without saying on a
sure.
monthly basis, but like what are annual things that
Yeah.
you should definitely have looked at?
So there's daily, monthly, quarterly checklists for every
Right.
maintenance person. Daily, if there's an elevator, they've got to take the elevator temps. On a weekly basis, they need to be walking in the kitchen with the chef, and the maintenance person looks from the eyeballs up, and the chef looks from the eyeballs down. Okay, let me look at your hoods. Let me look at your vents. Let me see what's not working. Let me look above what you're normally looking at. The chef's going to say, this thing's wobbly or the flames aren't right on my stove. I need somebody to fix that. So weekly, there's a daily mark, and it's usually temps. Uh, Weekly is inspections around the property, and then quarterly and monthly are the um, major items that need to be either greased or belts replaced or checked. So there's a definite list of things that every property needs to have. So if there's major machinery, it's got to be checked and serviced. So that's a good way to go through 5 or 10 grand on stuff that's just not looked out. If the temperature is too hot in the elevator room or your phone room, your equipment's not meant to take 85 to 90-degree temperature. So if something's not circulating, you've got to fix it. Because I mean, a fire panel alone, it's 5,500, 7,500 for a fire panel. And yet maintenance people will stick pieces of paper that will connect the wires in there, and they wind up starting their own little fires. It's like, guys, this is why we have rules. So
Yeah.
this is what we do every day, every week, every quarter.
Fantastic. I think it's been a pretty good overview here of the maintenance and housekeeping key parts of it. I think just the idea, the breakdown of the hours that you gave were phenomenal, and then the third of the time painting and drywall. I mean, it's I think for the maintenance guy is literally if you have time to lean, you have time to paint, right?
Absolutely. You should, and that's why I say, show me your paint when I'm looking around at a new property.
Yeah.
And if I don't see open paint cans or evidence that the guy's been painting, I know I got a problem. So you really want to see fresh coats of paint if you're looking at a new property to purchase.
Well, I will leave one last ninja tip. Maybe you've got a ninja tip here. My last ninja tip is the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser is
Yes,
your best friend for scuffs, right? A lot
absolutely.
of scuffs will get removed with that. I mean, I would just have them around. They're inexpensive, and if that doesn't get rid of it, you know it's got to be painted.
Yep. And my ninja suggestion is simple green. That
Oh
takes
yeah.
out so much stuff, so much calcium deposits and stuff from the side of your building. Try it on just about everything and see if it works.
I'm convinced Simple Green is actually just hydrofluoric acid because it cleans things
Probably.
so. Yeah. All right. Thank you,
All
Alan.
right.